Doctora has sent me here to demonstrate to you how you can cultivate the soil where there's mostly mud and little soil. Also, you can plant in those places near your homes. It's necessary to grow vegetables and greens for a proper and better diet, because when you have a good diet, you have a better health. Look how I'm doing this. You kids must teach your fathers. This way, your fathers will learn to do it right, and they can help you fix up the land. I'm going to give you the seeds that Doctora has sent to you. She gave them to me. She said, Don Vicente, go to that community and give these seeds to the kids.
Menudito se riega.
And then, of course, we want to improve the seed. And I get the seed by correspondence, say, with the famous Mexican Center for Corn and other kernels. Don Vicente goes and tells people to grow them, so we have soya from Brazil and corn from Mexico and improved rice from Honduras. And we have sugar beet seeds for the Altiplano. Any one of us needs a good professional grounding. And then you take that and then you see how it fits in with the needs that you find in a particular spot. This boy and his father got very badly burned, and we are applying a very simple bandage which they used for the pilots who fell with their machines and flames during the Second World War. You just cover with an oily cloth. In this case, we use just oil from the kitchen. So that is non-adhesive. Then pressure bandage. In a house, you would ask to get a cushion, for instance, and get the stuff from the cushion. In this case, we got wool from the sheep they have, and then we covered it all with lots of pressure. And we, of course, they didn't have bandages, we hadn't either, but from cloth. We just cut bandages. And you see this boy whom they brought in, lying and moaning from this little house, now is standing up. And everybody thinks it's a little bit of sorcery. We have one roadside clinic at least every week. But usually there are more, because on one we very often hang one or two or three others. And then sometimes we just find that too many invitations or requests are piling up, and suddenly we go and we stay away for a week or so. These roads here are so tempting. There is a poem by Kipling about a road. Something hidden, something calling, something lost behind the mountains. Something hidden, go and find it. Well, we are in the valleys, the Yungas valleys on the other side of the Andes. We came over the Andes over there to get down here, and there are narrow valleys, tropical at the bottom and are cold high up. People told me when I came here to visit a friend that they didn't have a doctor. They hadn't had one for 17 years. And would I come? So I said I was going to come twice a month and sit under a tree and see whether actually they did need a doctor. And when there were always about at least 30 to 40 people, we said, now we are going to buy a piece of land, and we are going to build a house, and we are going to be here for a long time. One girl said, a medical student, this old woman who still drives a car along these roads should better have her license to drive away and also her license to do medicine, because she cures tuberculosis disregarding many well-established ways of doing things. Now, quite apart from my driving, I would say in defense of the medical treatments, that after all what we learn is what people like ourselves have found out to be useful. And the textbooks are always 5 to 8 years behind the time, actually. We have stopped putting our TB patients to bed years ago, and then they started finding out in Los Angeles also that TB patients are better kept walking. Our patients, of course, have to earn their living also. Then they said there was no supervision, and if people didn't take their tablets, they would develop resistant TB, and then they would spread it all over, and it was better not even to start giving them tablets if you couldn't watch them. No, that's silly. Our people come for hours, nights, and sometimes several days to get those pills. They are not going to squander them. They came for those pills. I think many directions of modern medicine treat patients like very inferior subjects. And we find our aymara patients very intelligent co-workers in the healing of a case.
Ese amigo me traigo aquí, es muy enfermo, aquí. Muy enfermo, muy enfermo.
My friends brought me here because I was sick, very, very sick. I wasn't talking as I'm talking now. When I first came here, there wasn't a little house here yet, only a tent. With the medicine Doctora gave me, little by little by little, I could talk again, perfectly, as I'm talking to you now. So then Doctora said to me, my friend, why don't you stay with us till the very end and help us out? Why not, Doctora, I said. And so I've been here ever since. While I've been working here, I've even learned some things about medicine.
People have wonderful things inside and never can activate them. But if you find out what a person really is good for, it's a great pleasure for him or her, and also it brings lots of effect. lots of good work.
Sí, hay que poner agua. Sí. Sí. No.
I'm a grandmother of 6 grandchildren, and old people don't sleep so much anymore. So nights are a pure gain. You can read half the night and keep abreast of the literature, which young people not always have the time to do.
My mother has influenced quite a lot on my children. I know that my children even prefer to go with my mother on her mobile clinic instead of going to school. They could drive their car in some places on the roads and also make the tents. They have learned so much about sicknesses and organization and schedules. Of course, for my mother, it was also very nice to always have someone of the family when they could accompany her, because as a mother and a woman, she needs a kiss and hug as any other mother will need it also.
Rilke said that you want to be like a leaf fallen from a tree into the brook, and the water will take you where it wants to take you, and you better surrender to it. And that's very good, because you can't very often know yourself what you are good for. Other people will request things that they see that you could deliver, and you better follow that lead. One doesn't know oneself so very well.
People go to Doctora more because they trust her more, because she has a great spirit, and because she cures them. That's why people trust her so much. They have confidence in her. And she speaks aymara, and even in this language, she makes herself understood in the altiplano and all over. She gives so much. There's no one like her in Bolivia. In Bolivia, nothing is for free. But for everything she does, all she receives are some fruits and potatoes as gifts from patients who don't pay her any money. She has more expenses than anyone else. She buys medicines, and besides that, she has to pay for transportation. And she even prepares all our meals and snacks wherever we go.
As I said, we go to places where there is no doctor. Far away places that are so isolated that are even abandoned by the authorities. Mainly, we have always done that, gone to the abandoned communities.
I don't earn money on the roadside clinics, and I have to earn some money and pay my rent and my light, my car, and gasoline. I have a normal downtown office. That's every day, every afternoon. This is just a normal medical office, but the special part of it is that people from the outlying places and from the Grand Poder Clinic are finally brought to come here and consult just in an ordinary way. You know? And this is the last stage from which they can go on now to any doctor and any clinic. No le hacemos cosas horribles, que no va a querer decir nada cuando le duele y se empeora. ¿No? You say Doctora is now quite old, and it would be safer to to get a friendship with one of the younger doctors in town, and that's what they do. We see just only the next generation or the next group that we want to graduate for normal modern life.
My mother has tried to be a very, very good mother, but of course the price of her profession and her dedication to her work has been a sacrifice for my father in some ways. Being the husband of a very distinguished personality, it of course matters quite a lot, and mostly here in Latin America, where the man is the king, he has often felt as a second hand, or in a second level, I would say, in some ways. When we were having supper and a phone call came that she had a woman who was pregnant and was going to have a baby, she had to leave the table and go to see her patients. And of course all this has been a bit difficult for my father. As a man who has been educated in Europe, it was quite a change to live in Bolivia all of a sudden. Getting accustomed to a new culture is very difficult anyways. And he went back to Germany.
It wouldn't really be human to be a do-gooder all day. We aren't. It wouldn't encourage anyone, or it would make me certainly feel no sympathy at all to people who pretend to be so different from the normal run of living. We are very normal people who have learned something professionally which we apply all day, and only on Monday evening and once a week we apply it to something else. And that this is even useful to somebody, in this case the Aymara patients, well, that's our luck, that we found something that is so satisfying to ourselves and to other people too.
Hoy solo queda de aquel ayer, recuerdos que dejaste. Mucho tiempo te dediqué, mi vida entera yo te la di. Hoy solo queda de aquel ayer, mis recuerdos que dejaste. Sé que tienes otro querer, que no lo quieres también lo sé. Cuando te abrazas piensas en mí, en los 1000 besos que yo te di. Quieres alejarte de mí, cuando más lejos recordarás, a cada instante repetirás las 5 letras de mi nombre.
When I had my first heart attack, Father Nicolas came and said, now I had to think about succession. That, of course, would be absolutely false. And whoever else wants to start to do something mustn't step in the footsteps of a dead person. No, let everybody start up again. And that is what my students have done all over. They don't stay clinging to us. One of them went to a mine. I didn't even know. But I saw in the newspapers that 500 mine workers were threatening to strike if their pediatrician was transferred to another mine. That was one of our boys. Or one of our girls is now still exiled in Venezuela. She started work. She had been trained with one of our scholarships as a nurse. She was a role nurse in the Beni and Alto Beni and tried to defend her campesino families against the big landholders. Well, that was quite different from what we are doing, but wasn't it good? Everyone in his or her own way.
Amores en la tumba.